As we bring in Kellyanne Conway, former senior counselor to President Trump, now president of KAC Consulting, and Robert Wolf, former Obama advisor. Both are Fox News contributors. Great to have both of you with us today. Kellyanne, let me start with you. Your reaction to this executive order. I thought it was interesting. At the beginning of his comments, the president said, that he was celebrating the passage of this. But then he said, oh, no, it's an executive order. Kellyanne.
Yes, and that's what DACA was. Even President Obama at the time said, I feel like this will be overturned or this won't stand muster because it's an executive action, not legislation. They've not been able, even, Martha, when they've had a democratically controlled House and Senate, they've not been able to get this through, which tells you all you need to know. Look, he can lie and let the lies fly from that podium all he wants. The last part of what he said about detention camps and ripping spouses from each other, that Donald Trump has promised this, these people are lying all the time. They're lying about his energy, acuity, ability, agility. We could see for ourselves based on your first segment today, Martha. And now they're lying about what Donald Trump is saying, but it doesn't matter because Joe Biden's worst approval ratings on any issue is Israel, Hamas, and his handling of the border. This is way too little, way too late for a guy who now owns things like the rape of a 13-year-old because that guy comes here illegally on Biden's watch. He owns Laken Riley's murder. And I'm going to make, personally, all these people eat and own all the Democratic failings and flailings on the border. Jay Johnson, President Obama's Homeland Security director, said that he can't imagine 1,000 crossings a day. We're so way past that quaint, pristine number that we are into a complete crisis in evasion. And that's why this issue is top of mind. When people say solve the border crisis, they're talking about fentanyl. They're talking about the unfairness of giving illegal migrants cash and cell phones and clothing and hotel rooms and a free pass. They're not talking about whatever this guy is talking about. And I would love to see responsible, smart Democrats like Robert Wolf stand up and say, this is bull. And stop lying about what President Trump has said. Is Joe Biden going to lie at the debate next week like he did last time about Hunter's laptop and Russian disinformation? Is the big lie to fly next week in that debate this nonsense? Lying that Donald Trump wants to put people in detention camps? It's crazy, and it has to stop. They're lying from the podium at the White House.
Let's give Robert a chance to respond. Hi, Robert. Welcome.
Thank you. Well, Kellyanne always does great at giving a great ad for the Trump campaign. I hope they pay her a lot of money for that. It would have been great if they listened to her. It would have been great if they listened to her on Roe v. Wade, where the president continues to go out and say, I take full credit for ending Roe v. Wade. We know Kellyanne was not for the way the Republicans have been talking about it. She even went and spoke to them. And now the president's all mixed up, the former president, whether he's for state or federal or 15 weeks or 6 weeks. Listen, there's a debate coming up, and there's a great debate to be had. There's a real contrast. There's a contrast on taxes. You have President Trump, former President Trump, talking about 100% tariffs. Full inflation will have, unemployment will skyrocket, wages will go down. Even Republican economists are saying this is nuts. We can talk about Roe v. Wade. We know where the Republican Party is. That's why in all the elections since Dobbs, for the most part, Republicans have lost by 6 to 8 points versus the polls. I think we're at an inflection point, and next week we're going to be able to really see the differences between the two. I think President Biden has stood up for democracy, and I think today is all about democracy. I'm not going to call it about lying and this and that. I think he's taken an executive action because Republican Senator Langford couldn't get past his bipartisan bill, even though that really, if you had an up and down vote, it would have passed.
All right. Because of the breaking news, we got to leave it there. But you're great guests. And love to have you back because we have a lot to talk about as we head into this debate. I think Robert just gave us a perfect demonstration of the quick pivot from the question of the border to abortion. And I think that's exactly what we're going to see when the border, which is obviously a very weighty issue, 60% of the country is in favor. 60% of the country is in favor of mass deportation. I don't think we've ever had a number like that. So we'll see where it goes. Thank you both very much for hanging in there with us today.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.